We stand at a critical point in history. Give black people their rights, or we will burn this country to ashes. It's our job as organizers to set forth demands.
Tell me what the demands are.
We want to control our communities. We want to control our schools. We want to control our economics. And we want access. We want equity. I do not believe in equality. We do not fight for equality. But guess what? While we got the country by its balls, we're going to shove legislation right down its throat. Black people really need to understand that Democrats are not on their side. Republicans hate us and Democrats are not on their side. All we have is us.
They don't get justice. This world will never see peace. This isn't a march. This isn't a rally. This is a revolution.
Because America was built on blood and it rules by fear. Fuck peace. We on some Malcolm shit now. The first and most important demand that we have is defend our communities by any means necessary.
What is by any means necessary?
It means we're not going to stand there and let somebody choke George Floyd or Eric Garner to death and not do anything just because they're police. I'm talking about the Black Ops.
Black Ops is the newest part of the organization. It will recruit and train so-called peace officers, armed community members to police the police.
We are protecting our community from the police and from those who seek to oppress us. Yeah, I know you looking like, damn, these niggas is radical. You're right. What you gonna do? Shoot me? You're already shooting us.
You're talking about a month, and you have 9 black kids, and the Black Lives Matter movement has said nothing about this.
What does that have to do with equality, though, Terry? I don't understand what that has to do with equality, because listen, there's crime. There are people in those communities those people aren't just being nonchalant about gun violence. I live in Chicago. There are many people who are working in those communities to try to get rid of the gun violence. The gun culture in this country is prevalent, but I don't understand what that has to do with a movement that's for equality for black people. It's not mutually exclusive. If you care about equality for black people, that somehow you're going to stop random violence or, unfortunately, kids from being shot. It just seems like apples and oranges.
You know, it's not that way. You know, this is the thing, John. You know, black people need to hold other black people accountable. I said this the same thing. This is the Black America's version of the Me Too movement. If anything is going to change, we ourselves need to look at our own communities and look at each other and say, this thing cannot go down. And this is the thing, too. There are a lot of great people there who are held hostage by people who literally are running these neighborhoods with violence and then claiming that Black Lives Matter. When you look at the parents of these little kids who are mentioning, saying, hey, man, why aren't they speaking up for me, too? And this is what I'm saying. When I look at this whole thing about, you know, it's about who is controlling the narrative. It's got to be all Black Lives Matter. And what's happened is that because I even challenged it, because I even questioned and warned people,
Terry,
I became sick. Like if I told you to wear a mask,
but Terry,
they want to kick you out.
But here's what I have to say. The Black Lives Matter movement was started because it was talking about police brutality. If you want an all Black Lives Matter movement that talks about gun violence in communities, including, Black communities, then start that movement with that name.
It's the way God designed this place. You are going to come across people that have made poisonous conclusions and false beliefs, and they've got insane narratives running through their minds. And as you walk through the street, you're coming in contact with that all day long. So in trying to build systems, because that's what's going to happen now, we're going to build new systems, right? And in building our new systems, you're still going to be confronting those same defiled and degraded minds in these circumstances. The problem isn't completely in the system. The problem is in the hearts and minds of people. It demands that our attention begin on our hearts and minds. As a country, I would hope that a part of what we're learning right now is the destructive aspects of loveless, godless leadership. Do not elect people that don't have God and love in their heart.
Is that he was concerned, or is concerned, that that there's a lack of perhaps ideological direction in Black Lives Matter that would allow it to fizzle out, as he said, in comparison to Occupy Wall Street. That a more clear ideological structuring might be of some value here. But how do you respond to those kinds of, again, loving criticisms?
I think that the criticism is helpful. I also think that it might, I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories.
You just need to shout
Get
out.
angry some more, threaten me some more.
Get angry and threaten you some more.
Yeah.
I promise you, I don't threaten you, I promise you.
Promise, okay.
So come out there. Let's live through the promise. Come out there, let's live through the promise.
Come on.
Come out there, we'll live through the promise. I can promise you now. Come out there, we live it through.
Okay.
You're a coon. Dude, what? What do you mean? Because I'm a girl, you think I'm gonna fuck you up?
You have a civil unrest like this, there are three types of people in the streets. There are the protesters, there are the rioters, and there are the looters. The protesters are there because they actually care about what is happening in the community. They want to raise their voices, and they are there strictly to protest. You have the rioters who are angry, who are anarchists, who really just want to shit up, and that's what they're going to do regardless. And then you have the looters. And the looters almost exclusively are just there to do that, to loot. Now, people are like, well, what did you gain? Well, what did you get from looting? I think that as long as we're focusing on the what, we're not focusing on the why. And that's my issue with that. As long as we're focusing on what they're doing, we're not focusing on why they're doing. And some people are like, well, those aren't people who are legitimately angry about what's happening. Those are people who just want to get stuff.
No, here they are. All right, watch out. All right. What is it?
Fuck the police.
All right. Say it. Can you do the... Oh, here he is. All right. Power to the people.
Gotta stop. We have to stop the nonsense and take back our communities. And we have to police ourselves. And in the event that an officer tries you unjustly, don't wait for him to pull the trigger. Fight like you love yourself. Fight like Ali for your life. If you don't fight for your life, how much do you love yourself?
If this country doesn't give us what we want, then we will burn down this system and replace it. All right. And I could be speaking figuratively. I could be speaking literally. It's a matter of interpretation.
When he said he personally doesn't see racism because so many of his fans are white.
I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism.
There was a lot of backlash from people about that. Would you change it, what you said, or you still feel the same way? What's your thought on Black Lives Matter?
What is it? What do you mean?
The idea is that there's this movement called Black Lives Matter, thinking that the rest of America didn't seem to understand that Black Lives Matter.
It just sounds weird. I don't know that you put a name on. It's not a name. It's not whatever. It's somebody got shot by police and reason. I am a young, black, rich. If that don't let you know that America understands black matter these days, I don't know what it is. Don't come at me with that dumb man.
Do you separate yourself from it?
I don't feel connected to a damn thing that ain't got nothing to do with me. If you do, you crazy. You connected to this flag, right? Because I'm connected. I'm a gangbanger, man. I'm connected.
He ended our interview angrily.
Politician.
Lil Wayne is in the business of making music, not apologies.
We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories